Hi, and welcome to my little studio. My name is Magnus Edholm, and when I'm not sitting here talking with big thinkers and technical experts, I'm driving what we call the digital enterprise. The digital enterprise is essentially Siemens' approach to master the challenges in today's industry. Flexibility, increased efficiency, increasing time to market, and so on and so forth. We do that by combining the real and the digital world, looking at data flows, creating a digital twin of the product or from the production, and making sure that all the stakeholders in the development process has got access to the right data at the right moment in time, and also we are giving them access to most amazing simulation solutions. Today, we're going to go a bit beyond that. We're going to talk a bit about the industrial metaverse. We're going to talk AI for sure. We're going to talk about how this is moving forward and how important it is to have good partners on this journey. AWS, for example, and Siemens working together in this. With me today, I have two guys who are really, really deep into architecture solutions, technology, AI, robots, and so on and so forth. Here next to me is Emad Mankbadi from AWS and Theo Papadopoulos from Siemens. Emad, give us a short introduction on what you do, how you do it, and why you do it, and how long you have done it for.
All right. So I lead the partner solution architect with AWS. Have been with AWS for more than 6 years now. My focus is Siemens globally, but specifically with Siemens Digital Industry.
Okay.
I work closely with Siemens, especially on the industrial metaverse, to deliver solutions for customers in different industries.
Okay. Theo?
So I'm Theo Papadopoulos. I'm leading the Siemens Industrial Metaverse Lab in Munich, where we're trying to explore the art of possible. And as you know, Magnus, I love to combine the latest and greatest technologies like simulation, robotics, and I'm really passionate about that.
And perhaps also the...
Of course, yes, and the Meta Ray-Ban glasses, yes.
Are you recording everything I'm saying now?
No. You can see a light. No.
So okay, so you're not
analyzing. You're safe.
I'm safe. Very good. Right. Welcome, and thank you for being here, both of you.
Thank you.
You both touched upon it a bit, the industrial metaverse. I have an understanding of it, but how, Theo, would you identify and define the so-called industrial metaverse? And perhaps also, what value would you say it brings to the industry?
So we as Siemens, we say that's a single pane of glass. So where data from multiple sources are coming together in a virtual world, and there we enable engineers to take decisions based on data that come from different sources from the real and the digital world. And we enable them to take decisions faster. And that's very important because all these key stakeholders are in the same environment. They have the same reference. So when they're discussing, everyone has the same reference there, the reference point. And that's here, it's the key part here. And besides that, also we have the photorealistic environments, which makes that very easy, intuitive, complex processes for persons who are not experts to interpret and understand that.
So basically making sure that everybody involved, every stakeholder, get access to the data. I mean, we are using essentially the same data, but served in a way that meets my needs, I would say. That's kind of what
Exactly.
Yeah. Emad, now, you're more on the cloud edge side of things, and right. Theo spoke a lot about data. I mean, there's data all over the place.
Yeah.
In ERP system, in PLM system, in CRM system, and what have you not heard systems. How do we make sure that that data, what Theo spoke about, actually is accessible?
Yeah, the important aspect of industrial metaverse is the data. How we're going to link data from different data sources and how we're going to build semantic on top of it. So the way we gather data from multiple Siemens solutions, including the accelerator platform, is to leverage, like AWS infrastructure and also some Siemens solution like RapidMiner. RapidMiner has a high scalable kind of knowledge graph. We use this, running this on AWS, to link all data together from different data sources. And on top of it, AI.
Okay, so you're collecting data from various data lakes.
Yep.
And that's done by RapidMiner. I would say also and argue that Mendix could also be used in combination with this.
Yep.
And Mendix is a low-code/no-code platform, which more or less anyone can work with. You don't have to be a developer like the two of you and create applications, but the important is to have the data. However, let's stay at this topic of industrial metaverse. Are there any particular use cases that you think are standing out or something that people should look into or how you can use to explain? Because this stuff is complicated, but it adds a lot of value. Theo, what are your thoughts on that?
And That's a very good question because people think that automatically industrial metaverse will solve all the problems instantly. It's not like that. We know that from our own factory in Erlangen, where we can see where we can harness the real added value of the industrial metaverse. And it's not only in single phase. I mean, if you do an analysis, it's along the product life cycle, from the design, from the manufacturing till the operation. But what we have concretely identified is, for example, the design of a factory. That's also what we are doing with PepsiCo, for example, with their new solution. Yeah. That's a very important thing, where we can bring multiple stakeholders in the early stage and take better decisions, as we were discussing before. Then if we move, for example, to the manufacturing process, then we can have, for example, synthetic data generation thanks to the industrial metaverse and have quality inspection with very high successful rates. I mean, you can have very good analysis, very good results there. Another thing is there, if we speak about the operation, it's about also training our employees at the operation phase with the industrial metaverse. So we can create training courses there. And that's just a sample of the use cases we're experimenting. Another one, interesting one, is IoT. So we can monitor energy consumption, and we have the different sources coming together, and we can see which processes are the most energy intensive and take their first measures, which will harness the biggest impact for the overall consumption. So you can see that we have already did, but that's important also for our customers to understand, is they have to analyze which process in which product life cycle has the biggest impact on their daily operation.
Emad, any comments on that?
Absolutely. You know, like I would like to actually start what we do with Amazon in general, working backward. We need to listen to customer first, have a deep understanding of their use cases, and then look into their use cases, see like if Siemens plus AWS combined can bring the best solution for our customers.
Gotcha. When we talk about data collection, let's say we have a machine on a production line in a facility. It could be Erlangen. You mentioned Erlangen. And for those who don't know, Erlangen is a city in Bavaria, in Germany, where we are applying and using the technology that Emad and Theo have been talking about. We use the industrial metaverse. We are working with the digital twin. We have software-defined automation processes, and we have AI in action. And it's actually possible to go there and visit. Nevertheless, working in that environment, go in there and look at things, you can choose, I guess, to analyze data on the machine, or you take it up to the cloud. What is the approach to choose, and how do you decide when I go edge, when do I go edge, and when do I go cloud?
So some of the cases could be like customer requirement, like could be a data residency issue, you know? So they want to keep the data on the edge and not to move the data on cloud. But also some other cases, you know, it could be a mix of like running some data processing on the edge and also some other high kind of data processing also on the cloud. Mm-hmm. I would say also on the edge piece of it, you know, we need to look into the graphic rendering engine. Some cases, you know, especially for sensitive latencies kind of,
right,
you need to run the graphic rendering on the edge, not on the cloud. Especially if you use like glasses, like XR, VR glasses, where like you need to have kind of no lagging kind of between the rendering engine and your glasses, then you need to run this on the edge as well. AWS provides a solution on the edge with Amazon Outpost. And recently we announced also Amazon Leo, which is the high-scale kind of a satellite internet.
Oh.
So you can have a reliable connections to the Outpost rack, because Outpost rack need also to be connected to the closest AWS region. Okay. And you can also like run multiple workload on the industrial metaverse on Outpost.
Interesting. I did not know that. That was an eye-opener. I did not know that we could do that. However, there's going to be people out there listening to what you guys are saying. With your experience, what are the biggest barriers to battle, to navigate? Perhaps you, Theo, can say something.
I would say data. Yeah. Because still today we spoke about the single pane of glass connecting data, but still that's a big bottleneck because we have interoperability issues. At the factory, imagine that we have data that different types, different formats, 1D, 3D, time series, JSON files, so different types of documents. How we can make them, bring them together, it's okay. We can realize today, but how we can let them communicate to each other in order to harness the maximum out of it. We can then find the best formation and extract the best, deduct the best results out of it. But that's here, it's a huge challenge in the industry. Why is that? Industry has standards, but we have too many standards. The standards are developed for a reason. I don't say eliminate the standards. They exist for a reason. But this here, AI, the next years will help us to tackle this problem, I hope, can help us to automatically translate from one format to another the information so we can make that seamless, the connectivity between the different data. Another problem is lack of labor. We don't have the experts to generate the solutions we want here. For example, simulation field. I mean, my experience when I was younger, studying, I mean, you can see gray hair, a little bit older. A lot of people were going to the simulation field, studying simulation, but the last 10, 15 years, everyone goes towards AI. But we still need simulation experts. Hammer has to create this experience with these tools, and there is a huge problem there. Again, I hope AI will help us automate a lot of processes, democratize, lower the entry barriers, but that's also a big hurdle there.
Yeah. Democratization is obviously extremely important. I mean, what is true, the complexity will not go down. Now it's more about being able to master complexity. And I think what you just said there about data and of course labor is a big thing. Would you agree to that, Emad?
Absolutely. I will say also like maybe a cost could be a factor. You know, GPUs is expensive.
Right.
You know. In addition to that, also like customer would like to identify an ROI, you know, return on investment. You're gonna spend a good amount of resources and money on that solution. They need to identify the return, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's also a big challenge, but with working with customer and identify real use cases and help them to identify also the ROI, that will help actually to overcome this challenge.
If I made another issue, especially in Europe, it's that more, it's the digitalization. We are behind. So we have to give speed and drive connectivity, drive digitalization. And I believe that Siemens Accelerator can help our customers digitalize faster, as you become digital enterprise, as you said before.
Yeah.
But that's here a big bottleneck because we cannot adopt industrial metaverse without having first digitalize our processes, our factories.
Yeah. I mean, but at the end of the day, though, what you're saying is to pick up speed, find the right partner, define the return on investment. Don't go all in.
No goal.
Take it step by step.
Yep.
But the most important part is actually that you do get on this journey. I would say that. And the single pane of glass, as you mentioned, Theo, it is important because the three of us, we have different roles in the company. We are using the same type of data, but it's going to be served in a different manner. And I think that's the most important part. And also perhaps with an industrial metaverse approach, making reality even more realistic than reality, which is like a philosophical swing on the whole thing. We got about 2 minutes to go. Any last words? Like now you have the chance to pitch an approach, position an idea. It could be how to get up to speed. How should you start going on this journey? And so
Maybe I would like to add what's going to be our vision in 2 to 3 years.
please.
So it's all about AI, right? So how are we going to use AI for industrial metaverse? I believe, you know, AI could be used in multiple perspectives. One, maybe to accelerate how we're going to compose this kind of industrial metaverse. Theo talk about data interoperability, that AI could help on this one. But what I envision, especially with agentic AI, I can imagine like next to each digital twin in your industrial metaverse, that's going to be agent or multiple agents. And then with that kind of immersive collaboration, it's not going to be just users, but user plus AI agents collaborate together.
Okay.
So consider like the case of identify root cause of a problem. As a user, I'm going to ask an agent, and then the agent going to communicate to another agent, to third agent, to fourth agent, till they figure out what the root cause.
Yeah, I mean, it's exciting.
It may sound fiction, but I believe it's already a reality.
I think so too.
We're working on towards that direction also as a company. we're not there yet, but we're working that direction. But I think it will come this year. I'm quite confident.
Yeah.
We will see the first there out there, the first examples.
Absolutely. And thank you for both of you being here. But we can, as a conclusion, we can say that AI is not coming. It is here already.
Yep.
And now it's all about collecting data, understanding data, and using data to pick up even more speed. And if you are in concerns that you don't have the right tools, there are always good partners out there. We have a fantastic partner in you guys from AWS, and we're very happy and thankful for that. So with that, thank you to Emad Mankbadi and Theo Papadopoulos for being here. I wish you all the best, and it was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.